It's Wednesday, July 31st, 2024. Kamala Harris finds her voice. Meet the new Secret Service boss, same as the old boss. And one guy says he's predicted every election correctly since 1984. What does he say about 2024? Next on the AM Update. Can I ask you something? Would you Cisne if I came in here one morning and sizzle pimpin' accent and dialect totally unfitting, not natural? What would you say?
And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're gonna do it again in 2024.
Kamala Harris was in Atlanta, Georgia last night, holding an event at a packed arena. Were they all there to see Kamala? Nope. Megan Thee Stallion performed because that's what it takes for Kamala Harris to draw a crowd. At least that's the online right-wing narrative going into and out of that event. Yeah, Megan Thee Stallion performed last night in Atlanta to a packed crowd at a Kamala Harris function. Not sure what to make of that, but it's not totally unsurprising that one of the top rap singers in the universe would draw such a crowd. Really nothing else broke there. In a story that broke late last night, Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated in Tehran. That's according to Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard. No one immediately claimed responsibility for the assassination, but suspicion immediately fell on Israel, which has vowed to kill Haniyeh and other leaders of Hamas over the group's October 7th attack on Israel that killed 1,200 people or more. Haniyeh was in Iran on Tuesday to attend the swearing-in of that country's new president. Iran gave no details on how Haniyeh was killed, and the Guard said the attack was under investigation. In Washington, acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe testified in front of the Senate yesterday. He expressed disdain for his own agency and said he could not figure out why that roof where Thomas Matthew Crooks took shots at Donald Trump wasn't secured.
Back to your question, Senator. These were discussions that were had between the Pittsburgh field office, the local counterparts, and everyone supporting that visit that day. And that's why when I laid in that position, I could not, and I will not, and I cannot understand why there was not better coverage, or at least somebody looking at that roof line when that's where they were posted.
That is acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe asking or answering questions from Michigan Senator Gary Peters. He also received this line of questioning from Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
The Secret Service put out an official statement from your spokesperson that says there's an untrue assertion that a member of the former president's team requested additional security resources and that those were rebuffed. This is absolutely false. In fact, we added protective resources and technology and capabilities as part of the increased campaign travel tempo. Was this tweet accurate?
With respect to Butler, Pennsylvania, it is accurate, sir.
It is accurate that the Trump team had not asked for additional security and had not been rebuffed.
If you're talking about Butler, Pennsylvania, all assets requested were approved. If you're talking about the media reporting of assets requested, there were times when assets were unavailable and not able to be filled, and those gaps were staffed with state and local law enforcement tactical assets.
So I'm reading from the Washington Post, July 20th, 2024. Secret Service said to have denied requests for more security at Trump events. The opening paragraph, top officials of the U.S. Secret Service repeatedly denied requests for additional resources and personnel sought by Donald Trump's security detail in the 2 years leading up to his attempted assassination, according to 4 people familiar with the requests. Is that right, that repeatedly the Trump detail asked for more resources and repeatedly Secret Service leadership turned that down?
That is not accurate, Senator. Assets are requested. There's a process that is made. And
how many requests did the Trump team or the Trump detail ask for?
I can get you that number in a queue.
You don't
need a request for assets?
You've had 2 weeks. You had a spokesperson put something out that is false on its face. By the way, did you approve this statement when it went out?
I don't know if I did or didn't, Senator.
Has this spokesperson, is he still employed? Does he still have a job?
He is still employed, Senator.
So he lied on behalf of the Secret Service. He still has a job. Did your predecessor, the former director, did she approve this statement?
Senator, our comms team, they send out statements. They do deconflict them and they put them out.
So let me tell you what I believe. I believe that the Secret Service leadership made a political decision to deny these requests. And I think the Biden administration has been suffused with partisan politics. Did the same person who denied the request for additional security to President Trump also repeatedly deny the request for security to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., whose father was murdered by an assassin and whose uncle was murdered by an assassin? Did the same person make that decision?
Senator, what I will tell you is that Secret Service agents are not political.
Okay, you're not answering my question. But you know what? Leadership appointed by the president, leadership appointed by the president is political. I have a simple question, yes or no. Did the same person deny the Trump request that also denied the RFK request? That's a yes or no question.
Senator, that is not a yes or no question. One, there is a process for a candidate nominee to receive protection.
Does the buck stop anywhere? Does the buck stop anywhere?
Bipartisan process that the Hill participates.
It's a bicameral, bipartisan process. What cameral?
For a candidate,
you are not a Congress. You don't have a cameral.
Mr. Kennedy submitted a request that was referred over to the CPAC.
You heard Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe there claim that the Secret Service is not politicized. Here is Ronald Rowe's bio up until becoming now the Acting Secret Service Director. He was a member of the Obama White House. He was then Senate Judiciary Chairman, a staffer for Pat Leahy as well, a Democrat. So, totally nonpartisan indeed. Joe Biden was getting off of Marine One the other evening when he was asked by the Associated Press what he wants his legacy to be.
Mr. President, what do you want your legacy for Gen Z to be?
Secure the economy
When are you going to go
and the environment.
So he was asked, what do you want your legacy to be? And he responded, quote, that I cured the economy and the environment. Okay, the man behind the Project 2025 plan has stepped down from the Heritage Foundation amid intense criticism from the left. Paul Dans said in a statement Tuesday he would leave the right-wing think tank but continue his efforts to promote the ideas in the plan. The plan was promulgated by the Heritage Foundation as a guide for former President Donald Trump to consider implementing in his second term if he were to win in November. Liberals and other critics of Trump pounce on the plan in order to smear Trump and claim that he had, in fact, racist and authoritarian aims for his next administration. In early July, Trump denounced the plan and said he didn't even know what that group was. And despite his attempts to distance himself from the plan, liberals continued, of course, as they always do, to accuse Trump of secretly adhering to Project 2025. The Trump campaign issued a fiery statement against the project, released yesterday after news of Dan's stepping down. Quote, President Trump's campaign has been very clear for over a year that Project 2025 had nothing to do with his campaign, did not speak for the campaign, and should not be associated with the campaign or the president in any way. Reports of Project 2025's demise would be greatly welcomed and should serve as notice to anyone or any group trying to misrepresent their influence with President Trump and his campaign. It will not end well for you. End quote. Cut it out. Okay, if you need to distance yourself from a bureaucratic process, which is basically what Project 2025 is doing, they're trying to basically be a LinkedIn for actual conservatives who know how to do the job of governing. They're trying to do that. They're trying to solve the biggest foible of Donald Trump's original administration back in 2017 through 2021 is the staffing. He does not hire the best people because he was totally and woefully unprepared for that. Project 2025 attempts to cure that malady. It's a really bureaucratic inside baseball process. And if you make the calculation as the campaign that you need to distance yourself from that because no voter cares about some bureaucratic organization, you know what? I don't have a problem with that. But we're now going on 3-4 examples of not just distancing yourself from Project 2025, but outright condemning it. If that's what this is, if this is actually a condemnation, and that release that I just read for you, that's from campaign managers Susie Wiles and Chris LaCivita, the former of which is a registered agent of China, or at least was until very recently. This is terrible. Yeah, a Trump administration might be better than a Kamala administration, but if they don't have concrete plans on how they're going to staff the deep state, basically, the bureaucratic entrenched state, which Project 25 offered them a lifeboat to do, they are screwed, and so are we. This is Donald Trump's first major TV ad buy. It's going on in all of the major really battleground states, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, I believe I saw, $12.2 million. This is 30 seconds in length. Listen to this.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
This is America's border czar, and she's failed us. Under Harris, over 10 million illegally here. 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl. Brutal migrant crimes. And ISIS now here.
Do you have any plans to visit the border? You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
Kamala Harris, failed, weak, dangerously liberal.
So in that commercial as well, what you can't see are videos of Kamala dancing awkwardly. Of course, you got a little cackle in there as well. This is basically following the vein of the McCormick, the Pennsylvania Republican Senate candidate. This is just the ad that he released last week that I featured here on AM Update. This is basically in the same vein as that. It's taking a very serious issue, taking a very serious look at Kamala's record, and then adding on the crazy personality and persona that she has, the aloof, really weird attitude that she has. It's effective. It is effective. That should be the blueprint going forward for all campaign ads against Kamala Harris. International news: Israel on Tuesday carried out a rare strike on Beirut, which it said killed a top Hezbollah commander who was allegedly behind a weekend rocket attack that killed 12 young people in the Israeli-controlled Golan Heights. The strike in the Lebanese capital killed at least one woman and 2 children and wounded dozens of people. Hezbollah did not immediately confirm the commander's death. The strike came amid escalating hostilities with the Lebanese militant terrorist group. An Israeli official said the target was Faoud Shakur, a top Hezbollah military commander whom the U.S. blames for planning and launching the deadly 1983 Marine bombing in the Lebanese capital. And now here's this. A forecaster, an election political forecaster by the name of Alan Lichtman, says he's correctly predicted almost every election since 1984. He predicted Trump would win in 2016 and Biden in 2020. He says he has a prediction as of now about whom will win in November between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris.
I'll tell you exactly where we stand, even though I'm not going to make a final prediction until the Democratic convention. Under my 13-key system, which probes the strength and performance of the White House party, how elections really work, if 6 or more of my keys fall against the White House party, they are predicted losers, otherwise a predicted winner. Right now with Harris, the Democrats are down 3 keys. My mandate key, because they lost House seats in 2022 in the U.S. House. Incumbency, because it's an open seat. And incumbent charisma, because Harris is not an FDR. That means 3 more keys would have to fall to predict their defeat. It's possible, but a lot would have to go wrong for Harris to lose. So what are the 4 keys your viewers should be looking at? Third party. Will RFK Jr. stabilize at least 10% in the polls? It's the only time I have to use the polls. I have nothing else. I think that's unlikely. Social unrest. Will there be a huge outburst of social unrest at the Democratic convention like we saw in the riots of '68? I don't think so, but it's possible. And the 2 shakiest keys, foreign/military failure and foreign/military success. So a lot would have to go wrong for Harris and the Democrats to lose 3 of those 4 keys. But I'll tell you definitively, Chris, in a little less than a month.
So that is political forecaster Alan Lichtman, who correctly predicted Trump would win in 2016 and Biden in 2020, and says he's predicted almost every election correctly since 1984. He says as of now, and he's not making his final prediction yet, but as of now, he said it'd be pretty hard for Kamala Harris to screw this up. What do you think about that? I don't know, man. I think it's way too early in the Kamala honeymoon to make any sort of predictions as of that. You have to wait till maybe a debate as well if that even happens. What do you think? Let me know at Real AM Update on X. And finally, I want to leave you with this. This is MSNBC just yesterday morning, where contributor Molly Jong-Fast had these comments about one J.D. Vance and what he wants for the future of this country.
Stats are there. More and more Americans choosing not to have kids, which again emphasizes why J.D. Vance's comments about childless Americans, childless cat ladies, could be so politically damaging.
Well, so what's interesting is this natalism that comes from an authoritarian playbook, right? That there need to be more white children, right? That's the idea that there's, this is about great replacement theory racism, right? right? This is what this is. So don't misunderstand it for him wanting more children. He wants a certain kind of, racist thing.
J.D. Vance is married to an Indian, and all of their children are mixed race. That'll do it for Wednesday. Back at it again tomorrow. I'm Aaron McIntyre, and this is the AM Update.